All right, so for this next piece, we're going to look at how Unity deals with animations. And they create what's called an animation control. And this is what this piece is. We open that up. It's going to bring up this animator window. And right now, so what? It's a finite state machine. So we've got different states. So and I've got 4 states for this. Well, 5 technically. I've got an entry state which automatically goes to this first state, which is the closed state. I have a transition from here to playing the open animation. I have a state where it is open, and then I have an animation where I'm going back, where I'm playing the animation essentially backwards. So we can control the speed up here. So I'm playing the opening animation backwards to go to my closed animation. So these are the animation itself. These are playing those idle animation. So yeah, I want the idle closed, and this is idle open. I think that's what I needed. Just save the project. We can get rid of you. All right, so let's go back to not this one. Here we go. So to this object right here, and I'm gonna drag the chest into the scene again, and I'm gonna just set this up at 0, 0, 0, because that's where my game view. This is what we've got going on. All right. And one of the things that we could do would be like, hey, I'll just take the and drag it onto here, and it's going to form an animator. And that's one way we could do it. We could add component animator. So, and it created for the object, chest 2, and it threw out some debug stuff. Don't worry about that. All right, so we're going to click in, and so just look. There is again, they have an exit state, and these as you get further into using the animator, you may need to use these. But for our purposes right now, entry state is where we are starting. And we're actually not going to start with an opening animation. We want to go to the close item. So essentially, we want to start like, hey, when we start, the box is closed. We are going to create a new state. And this is going to be to open. I'm going to create another state. And this one's going to be, this is not opening. This is the closed state. This is the open state. And then we're going to do one more state. And this is going to be to close. All right, let's talk about the animation. So basically, on the closed state, we're just going to use the close idle animation. In the open animation, this is going to use the opening animation. The open is going to use the open idle. And then the close is going to use the open animation. But in this case, we're going to use a speed of -1. So it's going to play in reverse. And essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to say that we're going to make transition to each of these states. So the state in this direction and it's basically going to go around. So I need to give myself a little bit of room here. There we go. All right. So this is basically what we are doing. We have what's called layers. This is so you can basically like, hey, base layer. And if you're working on a model, you'd be like, the torso would be a layer, and your legs would be a layer. so you can layer animation, so you can get, you can worry about the torso doing its thing and the your legs doing something else at the same time and produce an output. We're not going to worry too much about that. Is again getting much further down the like what you can. There's a lot you can do with this tool. I'm just showing you the very basics right now. For our purpose right now, we want a parameter. And we're going to add one right here. And we're going to use, you can do a float, an int, a bool, or a trigger. Our purposes right now is going to just be a boolean. And we're going to call it is open. And we can go in and we can apply this in here as we see fit, as we're testing things out. All right. This is where things get a little weird. So here's our closed state. We have transitions. We have a transition here, closed to open. We're going to click on that, and it's going to bring up this window right here. And we're going to click in here. Sorry, I want to keep going down. It's not, this is not what I want to touch. What I want to touch is what's called conditions. So this transition is from closed to open. So we can go to multiple different states as we see fit. It will happen based on the transitions. The first transition you should know is an automatic transition. So here's entry. It goes directly to closed immediately. To open, to close, these are going to happen immediately when the animation ends. But close, I'm going to stay here until, basically that's going to happen immediately. So down here, I'm going to press add to this list, and the condition basically is the variable. This is the only parameter I have, but when is open is true, I'm going to transition from close to open. To open is going to go right away to open, and I'm going to wait at an open until this variable is false. So I'm going to go down to open, click on it, and its transition, again, is open. In this case, is to false. So we're going to go. So we're going to save the animator. I'm going to go back to my scene view. All right. Here's my object. I have the animator. So this is again. I'm going to remove this component just so you. This is what we're talking about. This is the animator. Controller is this is the type. The next thing I'm going to do is just create a C# script called chest control. I'm going to add the script here. So we're going to do a little bit of scripting. So for those who need help with the scripting, I will come help you with this. But basically, I'm going to double click on it. Sorry, edit script. All right, I'm going to have a public bool. I'll call it is open. And then I'm going to have an animator. I'm just going to call it Annie. And in start, basically, we're going to just get that animator. So it's Annie is equal to game object get component of the animator. So in update, basically, I'm going to have an if statement. If I'm going to use input get key down key code dot space. So basically, when the space bar is pressed, is open is going to be equal to the inverse of is open. And I can do this because it's a Boolean. And then what I want to then do is I'm going to go to my animation control, and I'm going to use the There is a bunch of set bool, set float, set trigger, speed. You can set the speed of the animation if you want. Where else can we? So there's all sorts that you can do, but basically the big one is going to be set. We're going to use set, float int. Sorry, the bool, the float, int, and again the trigger. Again, we want to set a bool because that's what we had. I'm going to go back to Unity just quickly and go back to the property, the parameter that we have is open, and I have written it. I'm going to grab it. I've written it with a capital I in this case. I'm going to go back to here and set bool is an ID and then there's a value, but we want to use string name. What is the name of the given Boolean parameter? Is open. And the value that we are going to pass is the is open Boolean that we created. So again, a lot that we can do with that system. We can set, how fast are we going? And we can actually, based on how, and there's a lot more things that you can do with this system. And we'll look at that over the next few weeks as I like, hey, here's something you can do. As I pull in hey, here's a skeletal animation with an animation. I'm gonna save that. We'll go back to Unity itself. Go back to my game view, and I should be okay to go. I press the space bar. You can see that it opened. I press space bar. It's going to be closed. So right now it's playing the idle close animation. It's playing the opening animation. Now the idle open animation. I'll press it again, and it's closed. A lot to do for a little bit of work, but this is the basics. And so for Unity, for those who are working in Unity, this is where I am kind of expecting. How you want to animate your lid, go have fun. I know some of you have coffins, and I know someone has a hilariously bad coffin. What did you put on your? What was on your lid again? What was on your lid? Did you? I thought it was like El Bozo. Yeah, maybe. Most likely. Please keep that. um, yeah, like how you put material on and what that material is up to you. If you want to have fun and humor with it, go right ahead. If you want to put something inside, go ahead. I know he has a Steve type model, which I'm expecting to show up inside his coffin. If you want to do something like that, go ahead. If you want to put bottles of stuff in there, or you want to put something that's nonsensical inside your chest, go right ahead. It's not You're not being graded on the art style or the humor, but the fact that you can do like this is what we're looking for right now. And this is a very simple example. All right, I'm going to stop my recording right here.